OCA, Asian Pacific American Advocates, is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to advancing the social, political, and economic well-being of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Based in Washington, D.C., with over 50 chapters around the country, we engage in issues like immigration, education, and fair treatment, among many others. We also provide resources and programs in order to build a pipeline of AAPI leaders so that our community can have a seat at every table.
Hello, everyone. This is H.C. Chang from OCA Greater Houston, all the way from the South, where it is still warm, even during the New Year. I want to wish everybody a happy New Year of the Ox. 新年快乐，恭喜发财，祝大家牛年扭转乾坤。Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lisa with the San Francisco chapter, and I thank you so much for coming to our celebrations. I hope you enjoy the Lunar New Year celebration. Chúc mừng năm mới.
Hi, I'm Jess, and I'm with OCA East Bay, Oakland, and we hope you enjoy this Lunar New Year celebration. Gong hei fat chai, Happy New Year.
My name is Jennifer Kaminsky, and I'm the president of OCA San Mateo. We hope you enjoy this Lunar New Year celebration and wish you a very happy New Year.
Hi everyone, I'm Kristen Santero with OCA Las Vegas, and we're excited to be coming together with all of our wonderful chapters and to be celebrating Lunar New Year with you and your loved ones. Happy New Year.
I'm Debbie Chen with OCA Greater Houston, and I thank everybody for joining us for these days of Lunar New Year celebration, and we wish you a meaningful and purposeful New Year. Happy Lunar New Year.
Hi, I'm Lisa Wong, president of the OCA Greater Cleveland chapter. Thank you for joining us for this Lunar New Year special. Happy Year of the Ox.
Happy Lunar New Year.
Hey y'all, it's Keisha. OAC Greater Houston and I are going to be collaborating on this year's Lunar New Year. We're talking tarot, covering karma, and all things spiritual. If you want to book a session, check out our Eventbrite page from February 12th to February 27th. I'll see you there.
For the remainder of 2020, OCA Greater Houston's Citizenship forums will be virtual. Please help us facilitate the process by filling out your application on Citizenship Works platform. Go online to citizenshipworks.org/portal/Houston and make sure to fill out all the information possible. If you have any questions, please email erica.chambers@ocahouston.org or call 281-968-9131 for the next steps. Make sure to fill out your application so you can join us online for the virtual visit.
Hi, my name's Kam Mak. I'm the author and illustrator of this book, My Chinatown. I'm here today to share with you the story of a 10-year-old boy and his adventure and his fond memory of growing up in Chinatown. And this little 10-year-old boy is me. So let's get started. Back home in Hong Kong, it's New Year. Papa said, we'll have New Year here. In America, in Chinatown. Mama said, it'll be just like home. But it isn't home, even when the firecracker hits and crackle all night long to scare off every spirit in the world. In the morning, I go out alone to kick through drifts of red paper. Somewhere there will be one whole firecracker hidden, waiting for me. But I can't find one, even through the air dances with scraps of red. A snowfall the color of luck. It must be someone else's luck this year, not mine. In Hong Kong, my grandmother is in her kitchen making pickled kumquats. In Chinatown, there are kumquats piled high on every street cart, wooden crates packed full of suns. Mama takes forever hunting for the one with leaves attached. Leaves are good luck, but she doesn't know how to pickle them. Grandmother wouldn't tell her, if I told you, you'll never come to see me again. She said and winked, slipped one last kumquat into my bowl. The fortune teller sits outside, huddled on her stool, buried in her coat, hats down over her forehead. Mama tells her all about me, my name, when I was born, the year of the ox, in the afternoon, but she never brings me along. Instead, she comes home and tells me my fortunes. It will be a good year for me. Lucks, happiness, surprises. But how can it ever be a good year thousands of miles away from home? I pass the cobbler every day, sitting on the sidewalk, working on shoes. Every day, I stop and watch him, cutting the leather in smooth curves, pulling the needle tight, the thread tight. I learned how when I was 10, he says. My family, they need the money. He nods. You're a lucky boy. Come here, go to school. But I don't want to go to school where the English word tastes like metal in my mouth. I'd rather stay here, watching his finger craft shoes the way sculptor carves shape out of stone. Long ago, you have to be rich to have your own music caught in a cage. But now, almost anyone can own a bird in a fancy bamboo house. And even if you can't, you can still come here and listen to this bird shop in the middle of Chinatown, where it sounds like the woods in spring. When we left Hong Kong, we had to pack quick. So many things got left behind: a country, a language, a grandmother, and my animal chess game. But tonight, my father comes home and hands me a package. I found it in a bookshop, he says. Surprise! Inside, the red and green pieces sleep close together. But on the board, the cat pounced on the mouse. The mouse terrified the elephant. And I beat my sister just like home. 12 hours every day, the needle on her sewing machine, gobbling up fabrics, turning miles of cloth into pants and jackets, skirts and dresses. After supper, I sit beside my mother, listening to the hum of the motor, the soft chatter of the hungry needle. Sometimes I fall asleep beside the sound of her work, a lullaby. It's a long, dark, rattling subway ride to the lake in Queens, where once a year there are dragons, carved heads and painted tails. The dragon race across the water, the rowing, the stringing, the drums pounding, the watcher cheering and making bets. One day I'll be a part of it, rowing to the drum beat instead of standing on dry land, shouting my throat sore, wishing my favorite boat to victory. Everyone's windows are open, but no breeze comes. The laundry sacks on the clothesline. I can smell hot oil, chicken sizzling. I can hear mahjong tiles slap the table, neighbors talking in Chinese and English. Nei Wan leans out her window. Let's go outside, she called. Meet you on Alger Street. I wave back to her. Maybe we'll find enough kids to play kick the can, my favorite American games. In the fish tank, the carps are crowded nose to tail, scale to scale, in a plastic tub on the sidewalk. Eels slither, frogs scramble. My mother points out the fish she wants. He waves his tail gently and looks straight at me. That night I say, I'm sick, so I don't have to eat him. I have been waiting weeks and weeks for the Moon Festival to come. Moons are everywhere, stacked high on the counter of every store. Round and perfect, sweet as clouds, with a golden egg yolk in the center. But every day, Papa still says, not yet, until tonight. Up the stairs, out on the roof, and Papa lights the lantern. I can see paper fires on every roof, tiny moons glowing. Our apartment house is drifting loose, floating free in the night sky. My favorite shop is dark inside, warm and quiet. Near the ceiling, dragons, birds, butterflies soar on paper wings. Masks watch me from the wall. On the shelves are bowls and chopsticks, paper finger traps, bamboo snakes, like things I remember from home, except there they weren't for sale. No matter how often I come or how long I stay, no one ever asked me to buy a thing. If you have money in your pocket, you're never hungry in Chinatown. Curry squid, crispy cake, tofu and syrup, fried noodles, sweet buns with coconut, or bean paste in the middle. Mama will say, I spoil my dinner, but I don't care. I'm first in line for fish balls, bobbing in brown soups in a white cotton, salty as oceans, steaming hot, 10 for $1, delicious. The arcade, light flash, bells ring, boys shout, jump, run, quarter in my pocket. Which game? Through a smoggy window, I see a chicken who play tic-tac-toe. We pick X and O's. The chicken goes first. She beats me, and a handful of grain shower down for her to eat. I feed the slut every quarter I have just to watch her gobble up her winnings. New Year days, noodle for breakfast, sweet rice cakes, a red envelope stuffed with money in my pocket, and lions in the street outside. I fly downstairs to be there when they come, leaping, pouncing, prancing, roaring, jumping, dancing, shaking their Leon manes, jump beats, feet stamp, hands clap, voice shout, Chinatown, this is Chinatown. And this is my story.
What inspired you to become an author?
First, I have to be clear about this. I am not in my profession. I am not an author. I am an illustrator, but with the book My Chinatown, only I can write this book because it's about my experience growing up as a 10-year-old boy in Chinatown. So I illustrated and wrote this book, and it's all inspired by my fond memory of spending time with my grandma when I was very young age, and I felt, wow, I want to share that story visually. Right? I'm an artist, so I think visually, and I want to share that, with people. I felt it was really interesting. So, and I suggested to my editor and said, "Oh wow, Cam, that's such a great idea." And that's how it came about. I did a painting, and this is a painting that I did because I always started with doing paintings that captured these fond memory that I have. So there's a painting, I know maybe too small. I can zoom in and you can see, and of two catfish sitting at a plastic tub. As a child, my grandmother would take me to all the markets every morning, shopping, and I always have this fascination of these animals that my culture shows, like on the markets live, and I was very fascinated. So I always remember just playing with the fish that my grandmother bring home while she's cooking before this fish become dinner. And so those are the really fun memories that I have of her. And then from there, it is where the idea of this book came from. So, and then as you learn, when I read the poetry, that I often refer back to my grandma and so this book is really dedicated to her. So, so that painting of that catfish is the beginning of this book. So that's why I had that painting on there. So.
That's awesome. And you have beautiful illustrations on there. I mean, they are just breathtaking. Is there one, besides the catfish, is there one that just, is your favorite?
It is, Maria, it's not fair to ask me which is my favorite because I have so many in this book. But of course, the two paintings I can say means a lot to me, and that's the painting. And people always curious, kids especially, when I read this book, is they always ask me, who are the peoples in my book? And I tell them, I actually use real people who I know. And so the two painting I think mean a great deal to me is one is right here. That's my dad holding a bird cage. Inside is this beautiful bird. It's called Wame. It's one of the best songbird. Has a very, very great reputation of being the best singers. And this is my dad. And he posed for me for this painting. So I would never sell this painting. In fact, is hanging on my wall behind me. And also this painting of my mom. And so that is actually my mother. And that little boy is me. So this two painting mean a lot to me. It's very special. So yeah, and so that two painting I think is my favorites.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then, so we're celebrating Lunar New Year's, and I know you mentioned a lot of traditions in the book. But do you have what are some of the New Year's traditions that you still continue?
I have to say that because the pandemic this year, the Lunar New Year celebration will be much more low key than it normally, will be. So how would I say it? Normally, if any other years, my mother would ask me to go to her house. She had prepared many stuff for me to bring back to my own home. Now I'm an adult now. I have my own family. But still, my mother makes sure that I follow a lot of the tradition and rituals. And she will buy me dozens of tangerines with leaves attached. Leaves are good luck. Leaves attached mean good luck. It also means relationships are intact. The whole tangerine, the leaves and branch is all intact. And she makes sure that I put them out in my house. And she'll give me a bunch of cakes and stuff to also not to eat, but for decoration. And on the New Year Eve, my mother makes sure that I take my family, because I'm the son and I'm the only son, to visit her on New Year Eve to have a New Year Eve dinner. And so, and this year, it may not happen, but that's a tradition that I've been doing, I guess, as long as I remember. Okay. And of course, my kids always look forward to the red envelopes when they visit my mom. And now I have my own family. I have to give out envelopes to my nieces and nephews. And I think I love those traditions, and I hope that we will maintain it. And I think that my mother at least did a very good job in teaching us all these traditions, and now it's up to us to maintain that and pass it along. Yeah. And I love the lion dance. I love the whole festive. My God, it's so exciting even talking about Lunar New Year, because it's such a fun memory for me. And I love firecracker as a kid, as you can see on my book. And so, and yeah, so one thing I always find it difficult to follow is that my mom wouldn't let me wash my hair. I said, oh, this is not practical. When you become an adult, you need to wash your hair, because Chinese custom is that you wash your hair during the New Year, you wash away all your fortune. So it's just interesting. So
that's really interesting. So how do you feel this year, since it is the year of the ox, and,
yes.
and I believe that's the year that you were born.
That's right. The one thing that I know from my mother, who told me that if if the year that your zodiac animal represent the year that you were born, I'm a year the ox. As you remember, I read this on my book. And this year is the year the ox. And one of the famous trait of an ox is stubbornness, but good stubbornness. And that for the whole year, I need to wear something red. Being the year or the ox, and I'm born in year the ox doesn't mean. She said sometimes doesn't mean good. You need to wear something red to protect yourself. I still don't really understand totally what that means, but I will be wearing something red. The last cycle around, I think it was 2009. Yep, 2009. And I have a little jade thing that I wear, and I had instead of this is black, I had a red string that was around. So I had that for the whole year. It's very strange, very funny that I don't exactly know what that means, but somehow I believe it. And whatever that means, I think that it's just custom. So I follow what my mother is telling me. So yeah. And beyond that, I don't really have any customs to follow beyond that. So, but I do wish everyone good health. Very important this year. Starting a new Lunar New Year. Hopefully, the lion dance and the firework will scare away all those bad things that's been hanging around, and then COVID will quickly go away. And have my finger crossed.
Can you tell us just talk a little bit about your work, beyond the
United
book?
States Postal Service over the years, and how that has led to a big reveal for this Lunar New Year?
So I was the artist who created the second series of the Lunar New Year stamp, and that series ended January 2020. And so right now, the year of the rat of the third series is created by a different artist. I was the artist for the second series, and then I will share with you guys, what I had done for the second series, our Lunar New Year stamp, and what it meant to me, and here it is. Right now, if you see on screen that's the red lantern. So my concept for my second years of Lunar New Year stamp series is to use the Lunar New Year elements incorporated with the animal, the Chinese zodiac animal, to tell the story of how we celebrate. I felt that it was not enough to just emphasize the zodiac animal and the character traits. I felt that for me, Lunar New Year is more than that. Lunar New Year is all the tradition, the rituals, all the symbolism, all of that. And I think that and with that said, I collaborate with the art director, Ethel Kessler, at the U.S. Postal Service. She was one of the art directors that worked with me to design this stamp series. So, and she agreed that this will be a great direction. And so I start working on sketches, concepts for all the Lunar New Year element that meant a lot to me. And then she had proposed it, all the sketch to the Stamp Citizen Advisory Committee. And the last thing I heard was, the next thing I heard, it was that they loved it. So I still to this day, I don't know how the process worked. And were there other artists that they have chosen to also come up with the concept? So kind of secret, kind of like, I feel the process is kind of secretive in some way. So I have no idea, but I was very, very honored to be selected. And here it is. And these are the 12 stamp that I create for the second Lunar New Year stamp series. That's the lantern. That's the year the ox. The red lantern is something that is iconic. It's something that ritual that my mother would do every Lunar New Year. She had these kind of decorative red lanterns that she put on the windowsill. I think she already put them on already, ready for next week. Here's the year the ox. I used the lion dance. They all had meaning. We performed the lion dance to scare away the old evil spirit, to start a good new year. This is the Chinese Narcissus. And it was adorned for the year the tiger, you can see. And again, it's very meaningful to me because it tells the story of how, when I was a little boy, my grandmother I would watch my grandmother put the narcissus bulb onto a dish with gravel. And she always tells me, if this bloom on the first day of New Year, we will have fortune and luck for the rest of the year. So, and again, also the beautiful sweet fragrance of that flower immediately reminds me Lunar New Year is coming or will be here soon. So here's the kumquat. And again, I shared that on my poem, what it means that for a lot of Chinese people, kumquat, oranges are all very auspicious fruits. And my grandmother would buy, most of the time she would have a pot of kumquat tree, a miniature kumquat tree. She would buy it and bring it home. Right. But for my mother, she'll buy the tangerines, the kumquats, all with leaves and stem attached. So, and for her, the meaning behind it is more about family intact, stay together. It's very interesting. So these are some of the sketches. Year the Dragon. Year the Dragon is the only stamp in the series where the actual animal is represented in my artwork. And in this case, it was the lion, it was the dragon dance. And in fact, I have a dragon dance troupe in Chinatown perform for me to create this stamp. And the firecracker, oh my gosh, cannot not have firecracker in the stamp. This is a tradition for thousands of years for us. Again, we use the firecracker to scare away the evil spirits. And so it is great to have that as part of the series. I use the drum. The drum is also one of the instruments beside the cymbal, one of the important instrument that Chinese use during the Lunar New Year. The sound of the drum is used to scare away evil spirit. And it was adorned on the year the horse. And this drum is used always accompanying the lion dance. And a lot of people always ask me about, what is this thing? This is the tray of togetherness. Or for us kids, it's the candy tray. This is a usually very decorative tray with 8 sections inside, divided into 8 sections with different fruits and sweets, dry fruit and sweet. And my grandmother and my mother will always prepare this so that when friends and relatives come to visit during the Lunar New Year, she can offer them something sweet to start the new year. And that's what this is. And as a kid, we raid this little tray all the time for the candies. When my grandma is not looking, we'll pick out all the good candies. But my grandmother and my mother also, things that she put in have a lot of meanings. In this painting, I have put lotus seed, watermelon seeds. So there's a lot of seeds in the tray of togetherness, because the seeds mean abundant fertility, has lots of kids and babies. So it's the Chinese narcissus. It's one of the first cut flower that's used to decorate the Lunar New Year. And my mother still buys them. They sell in Chinatown, so cut and to put on the vase. And again, every kid will recognize this. So the year the rooster, and I use the red envelope. And you know what that means, right? So one thing that my mother always teach me, never open the red envelope in front of the person who's giving it to you. It's very rude. But of course, I see Pete and see how much is in there. So this is something that we adult give to little kids. And my joy is that at the end of the Lunar New Year, I will count how much money I got. It's the lucky bamboo, and and there's a meaning. There's three. I use 3 lucky bamboo is the most popular numbers. That Chinese like to have 3. It's called Phúc Lộc Sao. That means wealth, luck, and long life, and that's what it stands for. And the way I use the twisted upward of the lucky bamboo mean life is a path that twists and turns, but eventually goes up. It's all very positive. See, it's like I had to research. I have to ask many of the elder people who know the tradition, the meaning. So not everything just came to me naturally. I had to learn some of these traditions, and here's the last one. This is the year of the ball, and I use the peach blossom, and the peach. Every part of the peach tree is very important to Chinese culture, and probably many other Asian cultures. It is always is tied to long life, and when you and that's something that many of us do. We buy because it is the first tree flower that blossom, and Chinese people will buy them from flowers, cut branches and put them on the vase, and it's one of the very iconic flower that you will see decorate in houses, because it is beautiful. But the significant meaning behind it is the long life, and that's it. So this is how I got into working and creating the stamp. It was through this series. It was 12-year project, and from this 2 years ago, while finishing up the Lunar New Year stamp, I was approached again by the U.S. Postal Service. I was given a go-ahead to do a concept of this woman who I didn't know who she is. So I did research, but the U.S. Postal Service also had given me some summary of who she is, but I needed to know a lot more. And so I went about to kind of see if I can find anything about her, but I found very little information on her. And so when I told the U.S. Postal Service that I needed more information, and they said to me, Cam, you're not allowed to research on your own. And at that moment, they finally provide me a photograph of her, and they told me that, so you cannot do any of the research. We will provide you a photograph, a summary, who she is, and then you have to base on these reference that we have given you to create the stamp. So, and I also asked, can I reach out to the family, maybe so get to know who, maybe can ask them who she is, like what she's like. I like to kind of know the person that I'm going to do a portrait of, but they did not allow. They didn't discourage me, but they did not want me to talk to them. So I don't have any contact with her family. So I followed the instruction was given to me, and I photographed a very poor quality photograph of her. I think that it was a photograph taken of her teaching at Columbia. She was a nuclear physicist who have done a great deal in advancing the science of nuclear physics for this country. And so she was a very accomplished woman. And the more later on, I did find out a little bit more online about her and how with the accomplishments that she had achieved, that she didn't get the recognition that men had gotten at her at that time. But I also read that eventually the scientific community eventually had given her a recognition award that she deserved, but much later on in her life, not at the moment with all the things she had done. And so in that way, I guess better late than never. So, but I was when I read more about her, I felt, wow, this is another assignment from the U.S. Postal Service that is actually become very personal, and also by her being a Chinese American immigrant, I was like her, an immigrant. And it just it became a huge pride for me and an honor for me to given the opportunity to paint her portrait, and having the U.S. and I'm very happy that the U.S. Postal Service, highlighting and giving tribute to, I think, I'm not sure, but I think she's like the first Chinese American woman on a commemorative stamp, an immigrant on top of that. But my daughter, who have viewed the stamp and felt, wow, this is empowering for women, especially Asian women, to see it being celebrated this way. And they feel that this stamp will definitely give pride to many Asian immigrant or Asian Americans. So this stamp is very important in a very indirect way, although it is about her achievement, but it's more than that, actually. So that's the story behind this stamp. And the way I painted this stamp was also very interesting. The technique that I painted this portrait is very different than the Charles painting I did for the Lunar New Year stamp. Those paintings were done in oil painting. This stamp was done in a medium called egg tempera. Egg tempera is a medium that is very popular. It makes it was very popular during the 1400s in Italy, in Europe. And this is a medium of choice for me now. I fell in love with it. And in fact, this medium allow me to do certain things that I cannot do for oil. one thing that in this portrait of Madame Wu is that you see the blue in the background. That blue is just not an ordinary blue. That blue is called lapis lazuli. And lapis lazuli was the only blue that existed in the Renaissance era. And it was valued more than gold, this blue color pigment, because it has come from only in one place and far away. It came from Afghanistan, and the journey for it to get to Europe, it was a huge journey, and that's why it's very valuable, and that's why artists will only use this blue color on the most important figure in their painting, and nowhere else. And so my kind of personal tribute to Madame Wu is to use this semi-precious pigment to surround her with. Is my tribute to her and her significance and her accomplishment. So that's it. And also, I just felt that a sense of pride that that finally to show that Chinese Americans had given a lot to this great country, and I'm just happy to see it being recognized. And that's my story about the stamp. First of all, I hope you enjoy my reading, and I feel that every one of you have your own story about your community. For me, it was My Chinatown. For you, it could be your own little neighborhood where you live, that you have certain memories about, that you want to, so you can write your own books. And I want to also wish everyone a wonderful Lunar New Year and good health, most important to everyone. And that's it, guys. It was a pleasure to be able to share my story to you guys. And